Right, in this episode I'm going to talk about what to see in Italy. Just give you a heads up, there are a lot to expect in Italy just because Italy was once the capital of the whole world and the whole Roman Empire has given so much. We're not talking about only the ruins or the food and also the arts and the culture during the Renaissance. And there have been so many artists has ever born in this country. Michelangelo's, Raphael, Da Vinci, and so many more. What I've covered is what I think is iconic and interesting to the travelers for the first time. Each of the Italian city is actually so different from one another. Rome are representing the history of the Roman Empire. Milan represents the art. Tuscany represents romance. And Emilia-Romagna represents the wealth of the country. There are so many museums, cathedrals, churches in Rome. The one museum that every tourist has to visit is the Vatican Museum. Vatican Museum is ranked as the number 4 most visited museum of the world, only after the Louvre of Paris, the National Museum of China, and the Tate Modern of UK. Vatican Museum was founded in the 16th centuries and it is now called the Museum of the Museum. It's got more than 70,000 collections in the museum, and among those 20,000 are showing to the public. Their collection including the renowned Roman sculptures, most important masterpiece of the Renaissance, Egyptian mummies, bronze, ancient busts, master and modern paintings. And the 20,000 of the collections are displayed in 54 different galleries within the same museum. And just to give you an idea of how big the museum is, you have to travel at least 7.5 kilometers to explore the whole museum. Insistent Chapel is the last gallery of the whole Vatican Museum. It is famous because it's got so many great collections from the famous artists. Two of the most famous are Michelangelo's The Creation of Adam and his Judicial Universal. When you finish Vatican Museum, you can also opt to visit the Vatican Garden and Castle Gandolf residence. Not far from Vatican Museum, there is St. Peter's Basilica and St. Peter's Square. It is named after the first Pope of Catholics, St. Peter. St. Peter's Square is the most celebrated plaza in Italy. At the center of the square there is an Egyptian obelisk, and the great artist Bernini redesigned the whole square 100 years later and add a colonnade around the square, which is now a very tourist famous place. St. Peter's Basilica is the most outstanding church in Italy. It is also country's largest, richest, and the most spectacular basilica. Inside the basilica, there are 3 most well-known collections of the great artists that are Michelangelo's Pieta, his Dome, and Bernini's Baldachin. Colosseum was a 50,000-seat open stadium. It used to call the amphitheater of Flavion, named after the Roman Empire. Vespasian Flavion, who ordered to build this Colosseum, symbolized the power and drama of the Roman Empire, but didn't get to live to see it completed. His son Titus finished the construction 1 year after his father's death, and in order to mark his inauguration, Titus held game for hundreds day and night straight, in which 5,000 animals get slaughtered. Later on, another emperor, Trajan, broke the record, held a game for 117 day and night, which involved 9,000 gladiators and more than 10,000 animals get slaughtered. Pantheon is the most reserved monument. It is the most influential building in the Western world for more than 2,000 years. It is so big that if you're standing underneath of the dome, you feel yourself look so small, and that represents the great history of the Roman Empire. Pompeii was a vast ruin, represents the history all the way back to the 7th century BCE, and it was a thriving Roman city. Only because the volcanic mountain nearby erupted in the year of 79, all the ashes buried the whole city to help it survive through the 2,000 years unrest, and then become the World Heritage Site and the most visited tourist place. Borghese Gallery and the museum. As Lonely Planet put it, if you only got the time to visit one gallery in Rome, then it has to be Borghese. The museum was founded by Cardinal Borghese, who was known as a ruthless art collector. The museum boasts many masterpiece paintings by many of the well-known artists, for example Caravaggio, Raphael, Titian, and sculptures of Bernini and Canova. Tuscany is Italy's most romanticized region and is tailor-made for the art lovers. According to the UNESCO's, Florence contains the greatest concentration of the universal renowned work of the arts in the world. If you want to witness the stunning exteriors and the interior of the Florence Cathedral, or you want to check out the world's greatest collection of the Italian Renaissance art in Uffizi galleries, Tuscany is the place to go. And to be the cherry on the top, visit the vineyard of Italy's most famous wine region, Chianti. Emilia-Romagna was one of the wealthiest and most developed regions in Europe. It is the third highest GDP per capita city in Italy. Its capital Bologna has one of the highest quality of life index in the world and is also the home to the oldest university of the world, University of Bologna. It is also the full center of the whole Italy, which I will cover in the next episode. And as the Lonely Planet Guide put it in 2018, Emilia-Romagna was the best place to see in the Europe. I picked another two very unique, one museum and one gallery each, that if I'm going to Italy, I'm gonna go check it out. The first one is Egyptian Museum in Turin. It has one of the largest collection of Egyptian antiquities. It is the second most important Egyptology collections, only after the Egyptian Museum of Cairo. The gallery that I find interesting is the Gallery of the Academy of Florence. It is best known as the home of Michelangelo's sculpture David, as well as a large collection of paintings by Florentine artists. The last one that I expect to see in Italy is all the coastline beauties. I've outlined 4 places where they have, I think, the most beautiful coastline in the country. The first one is Mafi Coast. It is a colorful town by the southwest of Italy. The landscape is UNESCO listed. In there you enjoy the sea, sky, mountain hiking, and coastline landscapes. Second one is probably one of the most famous, Cinque Terre. It is one of the most dramatic coastline sceneries of the planet. Monorola Scenic Viewpoint has always been my bucket list for such a long time before I even know it's in Italy. Cinque Terre has got 5 villages dated from the early medieval period. The third one is Costa Viola. It is not as famous as Cinque Terre, but it's got its own unique beauty. It stretches 35 kilometers along Calabria coastline. It's relatively untouched by the tourists. It's not as famous as Cinque Terre, but it's got the competitive culture, landscape, and beach. The last one is the island of Sardinia. It is best known for its clear water and exquisite beach, where the people living there tend to live a longer and more healthy compared to the rest of the planet. The cheese in Sardinia tend to be particularly good, in which I'm going to cover in the next episode. This is it for things to see in Italy. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about the food and drink in Italy.